All right, third topic tonight, guys, is religious trauma syndrome, RTS. How some organized religion leads to mental health problems. It's going to be probably a touchy subject to a certain point, and it's something that's
Oh
been
yeah.
coming up recently on a lot of social media outlets out there. This is something not new. It's been out there for a while, and I got a video of the doctor that basically came up with this RTS, and we're going to get into that. And Drew's going to read first, and I'll play the video after that. Drew, have at it there, buddy.
Yeah, bear with me here. Dr. Marlene Whannell is a human development consultant in the San Francisco area. She is also the daughter of Pentecostal missionaries. This combination has given her work an unusual focus. For the past 20 years, she has counseled men and women in recovery from various forms of fundamentalist religion, including the Assemblies of God denomination, which, by the way, I happen to have been a part of in the past, in which she was raised. Whannell is the author of Leaving the Fold, a guide for former fundamentalists and others leaving their religion, written during her years of private practice in psychology. Over the years, Whannell has provided assistance to clients whose religious experiences were even more damaging than mine. Some of them are people whose psychological symptoms weren't just exacerbated by their religion, but actually caused by it. A few years ago, Whannell made waves by formally labeling what she calls religious trauma syndrome, or RTS, and beginning to write and speak on the subject for professional audiences. When the British Association of Behavioral and Cognitive Psychologists published a series of articles on the topic, members of a Christian counseling association protested what they called excessive attention to a, quote, relatively, was it niche topic? What is it? Whatever.
Yeah, niche.
Yeah, niche.
Niche. Yeah, niche.
One commenter said, quote, a religion, faith, or book cannot be abuse, but the people interpreting can make anything abusive. Is toxic religion simply misinterpretation? What is religious trauma? Why does Whannell believe religious trauma merits its own diagnostic label? I asked her. Let's start this interview with the basics. What exactly is religious trauma syndrome? Whannell says, religious trauma syndrome, or RTS, is a set of symptoms and characteristics that tend to go together and which are related to harmful experiences with the religion. They are the result of two things: immersion in a controlling religion, and the secondary impact of leaving a religious group. The RTS label provides a name and description that affected people often recognize immediately. Many other people are surprised by the idea of RTS because in our culture it is generally assumed that religion is benign and good for you. Just like telling kids about Santa Claus and letting them work out their beliefs later, people see no harm in teaching religion to children. But in reality, religious teaching and practices sometimes cause serious mental health damage. The public is somewhat familiar with the sexual and psychological abuse in a religious context. The journalist Janet Heimlich was documented in Breaking Their Will. Bible-based religious groups that emphasize patriarchal authority and family structure and use harsh parenting methods can be destructive. But the problem isn't just physical and sexual abuse. Emotional and mental treatment in authoritarian religious groups also can be damaging because, one, toxic teachings like eternal damnation or original sin. Two, religious practices or mindsets such as punishment, black and white thinking, or sexual guilt. And three, neglect that prevents a person from having the information or opportunities to develop normally.
Thank you there, Drew. Thank you very much there, sir. Yeah, one thing I do want to say about this is the topic we're going to be discussing with Dr. Andrew Newberg tonight on our after show. He's going to be showing up. We're going to be talking about this a little bit, see what he knows about it, and go into the field of Noor theology in the study that he actually studies. And what I want to say here is this comment is a religion, faith, or book cannot be abusive, but the people interpret it can make anything abusive, like eternal damnation, for instance. This is the truth, I think. Reason why I say that is because I witnessed this in my ex-marriage, and I do have a series out there, a 6-part series on my Live Life 8072 channel, has over like 30,000 views combined, and it's an atheist married to a born-again Christian, and you can see the damage my wife went through, ex-wife, in my own opinion. This is just my opinion of the relationship, where her parents were pastors and she was brought up in this faith. You know, she was hounded about eternal damnation. It affected her in a way, no doubt. She did have some other issues that contributed to, you know, her breakdown. But this right here, religion, no doubt in my mind, definitely did affect her, or at least affect her to the point where the mental issue she had, psychological issue that she had, definitely contributed to that, because she put so much faith in this, and she's seen no return from God. She's seen no return. She was in this abusive relationship for many years, her ex-husband, and she dealt with this. You know, her parents said, you can't get divorced, you can't get divorced, you can't get divorced. God won't let you to get it. It's a sin. You can't do it. And it's pretty fucking fucked up that people are indoctrinated so heavily to believe this as in being truth, reality, and it just fucks them up to a point where they have to trust the word of God. They have to obey it, and it's so damaging. It's not even funny how damaging religion can be. Okay, I'm not saying everybody.
Yeah.
I think religion can be good to a point. Okay, but then again, you see these evangelicals. I'll point them out where they'll bring in somebody to their congregation that might be an alcoholic or a drug addict. That could be good. They could help them get on their feet. Okay, that's understandable. But then again, it could be damaging to the point where, say, my ex-wife, it damaged her to a point where she truly wholeheartedly believed that God was going to help her in her relationships or her issues. It didn't help her in any way. She might think that it helped her, but it didn't. So that's the damaging point of that. And you got to see that these born-again Christians out there, I'll point them out, born-again Christians, is they prey on the weak. They prey on the people. They bring them in, and they do it for fucking money. They do it for fucking money. Granted, they do help out, and they do give to charities, but they do it in such a damaging way to these people and give them a false sense of reality. That's what fucking pisses me off.
I gotta kind of disagree on just they do it for money, because if you're truly duped into it and you truly think God is helping, then you probably truly think you're doing God's work when you're trying to get
about the churches
converts.
And pastors and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people.
A lot of them that do it for fucking money, dude. Come on.
When I think born again Christian, I don't think like money hungry right off the top of my head.
So these are people that are genuine.
Well, no, not the flock. The wolf in sheep's clothing, or whatever the hell.
But also you got to think, like, for instance, the church that I was raised in. I honestly do not doubt the sincerity of the pastor of that church.
No.
Most churches that I even knew growing up, like that friends went to, I don't necessarily doubt the sincerity. Like the pastor, like legitimately believed it. You know, I don't think for a second that like all pastors are just, you know, like, oh, we're just going to
not all.
No, I'm not claiming all.
Probably
all.
even the majority.
The ones of the very large churches, I would say yes. The mega church ones, I doubt they're there for the fucking glory of God, really.
Please, I've been in fucking hot water about this issue before, about the same religion as mental illness. I'm not fucking claiming that. I'm not claiming that they do it for fucking money primarily. But I'm saying many fucking do. There's no fucking doubt in my mind. And they feel they're helping.
I don't know. Creflo Dollar came across as Creflo Dollar, that $64 million jet that came across as really sincere to me. I don't know about you guys.
Right. But I got in trouble too, because I said that I thought that you know, when they do like the hardcore stuff, I thought it was child abuse, because when you fuck up the person for life, you fuck up their mental capacity, their mental reasoning, that you fuck up their abilities to just function normally, because they can't distinguish normal critical thinking, normal reality from fiction, and they've been, you know, abused and indoctrinated so hardcore.
I mean, look at Jesus Camp, for Christ's sake. I mean, look at that fucking video.
Yeah.
You tell me that's not damaging to children? I'm sorry, but
the ones that
I think for the most part it is
to have
damaging.
their children taken away to like boot camp, like religious fucking boot camp and shit. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
And I said, I think we covered Jesus Camp before. I went to camps like that like a lot when I was younger. And I was in one of those churches, you know, where everybody spoke in tongues and they put their hand on your head.
Fat
people
camp.
walk.
I got a video on that.
Yeah, I never went to fat camp.
I got a video on that.
Went to Bible camp.
I did.
Obviously, look at you.
right.
Still fat, but I'm an atheist now. That's what Bible camp does.
What, beef shop? Nice. Beefcake.
I love Drew.
Yeah,
He's a wonderful beefcake. I love all you guys.
Yeah,
we're pretty diverse for being a bunch of white guys.
I know, aren't we though? But no,
I had to point it out.
What I want to say here in closing here, guys, if you haven't seen my series, go check it out. It's on my Live Life 8072 channel. It's it's probably the first set of videos I've ever put on YouTube. It's from like 4 years ago or something like that. But I also do have a video of the miracles that her parents claimed were real. It's fucking funny ass fucking video, so you should really check that out. It is actually pretty fucking entertaining. But that being said, we're going to be talking a little bit more on this RTS, religious trauma syndrome, with our special guest tonight on our after show. It's Dr. Andrew Newberg. And yeah, he's a neuroscientist, and he studies the field of neurotheology. So it's going to be really entertaining tonight having him on the after show. So it's going to be pretty cool to pick his brain about this. So it was like same thing with Silverman, man. I'm just like, I'm like, you know what? We're doing this RTS. Let me reach out to Andrew Newberg, and I got his phone number, so I text messaged him. He got back to me. He's like, yeah, I could do it, man. I'm going out, tonight with my wife and everything. He goes, yeah, I could definitely make it, like around 10 o'clock, probably before that. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm looking forward to having him on the show. That's going to be awesome, man, later on the show. So
just on the subject before we move on.
Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I get the feeling we're about to move on. I want to say that there are things in that like it took me a long time to get over because of my upbringing. And I think when it's talking about how, religion teaches you what to think instead of how to think. And when you break down some of those concepts, especially things like hell and like the more sinister concepts, like I say, especially hell and this idea that, some people, even people that you love and stuff, even if it's not you, but people that people you go to school with, that you're friends with, are like at some point in the future going to be like tortured in a lake of fire. Is like, dude, that really did. Even once I was an atheist, that took me like a while to like really completely get over that.
Well, the thing is, Drew, and I want to expand on that, is what a lot of religious people, what I should say here is, the reason why a lot of religious people leave their faith, and one of the main reasons is suffering in the world. Bart Ehrman hits the nail on this when it comes to suffering, in his books, and basically what happens is people just can't get over the fact of all the suffering in this world, that God is so all loving, all powerful, all knowing, and he just can't do anything to fuck about it. You know what I mean? We have people that are very devoutly religious that lose their child at the age of 2, 3, 4, 5, teenagers. They lose them, and just it's horrific. That people actually believe this shit. You know what I mean? I just don't know what else to say on this topic, man, to be honest with you. It's so detrimental to a child's brain, man, when you indoctrinate them in this bullshit. And I can see a symptom like this, RTS, being detrimental to a child or even an adult. You know what I mean? It's pretty sad, man. So, again, I'm not saying religious and mental illness, but I think religion can contribute, be detrimental. If you do have a mental illness, I think it can do that. So...
I would just add, say to that, even if you don't have a mental illness, when you raise somebody, you're telling children like from like the day one that they can even understand shit, like that these horrible fucking things are going to happen to like everybody that doesn't believe, or even people in their own families and stuff. They're like, well, they're not Christian enough.
Well, you're 100% right there, Drew. I'll give you a little example. In my personal life is my stepkids. I'll give you an example, and this is in my video that I did 4 years ago, is they used to come home from church, okay? They knew I was an atheist. Not an outspoken atheist, but they knew I was an atheist. I never got involved with the religion. I never told them that it was wrong or not right or right. They used to come home, on 2 occasions I remember, they came home and they were crying on the couch, 2 of them. And they're saying, we just want you to come to church and repent and ask for forgiveness, and like the shit you would hear a pastor say. And I'm like, guys, I don't want to talk about this right now. And they used to cry thinking I was going to hell. No. They used to cry thinking I was going to hell. You're telling me that's not detrimental to a kid's psyche? Come on, man.
That's fucking horrible, man. I used to think that about, because my dad never went to church with us. And I used to come home and mom would always be like, you better beg your dad to go to church with us. It's like, dude, that is like, even now looking at it, like, what the fuck? To like tell a kid that your dad's going to be tortured forever because he doesn't go to church with you.
That's bad, dude.
God, that's fucking horrible.
And it doesn't, even if you don't focus on that kind of nastiness, there's other shit that religion, like, it breaks the chain of logical thinking.
Yes.
Like, you have like logical things you think about, and then all of a sudden you just break that shit, and you end up with, where religion is actually dangerous, where people have a sick child and they just pray instead of going to the doctor or the hospital or anything like that, and the kid dies and shit like that.
Exactly.
Those people, who knows whether it was the chicken or the egg, whether they were nuts or whether they're just religious or whatever, whether which one came first and which one influenced the other more. But obviously, if you have mental issues, believing, if you have a tendency to hear voices and then someone tells you, oh, that's God talking to you, That's you're just asking for some bad shit to happen.
Well, not only that, it's good rain. Thank you, TJ. It's very well said. But you look at, like you said, look at Abraham. What happened to Abraham? He was tempted by God to kill his son, and at the very last second, an angel came down and said, "Oh, stop there. We don't want you doing that now."
Like really, when you think about it like that, what's the difference between like Abraham and like Andrea Yates?
Yeah, and this shit happens in reality. People do kill their children because the apocalypse is coming or the second coming's coming, and they don't want their kids fucking living through it. We see this all the time. It's in the news, not all the time, but it's in the news. It's prevalent. It does fucking happen that people believe this to a certain point where they'll kill their fucking children. That's fucking sad. It's fucking immoral.
And there's other people that think that it's the end time is coming soon, so they fuck over their lives, they fuck over their children's lives, and then it comes and nothing happens, and then poof, they're screwed.
Or in the case of our elected officials, like, don't give a fuck about serious problems because God's going to sort the shit out in the afterlife anyways.
Yep.
It's so sad, man. I know this was going to be a heated topic, but, man, it's just so sad. And we're going to be talking to Dr. Andrew Newberg later over this.
But then you also have benign things like Cock was saying about, like, just benign things. Like, when I was growing up, when I asked my mom about the dinosaurs, she said, well, God put the bones there to test our faith. Like, what the fuck kind of shit is that? Why would you? What? No, you tell the truth. You say, well, I mean, but how do you reconcile that? That's it's the cognitive dissonance that people go through to reconcile what they know to be true and what they feel to be true or they want to be true because it makes them feel good.
Well, you're right, Paul. You're 100% right. And this is what happens when you suspend logic and inquiry and reasoning, and you suspend all this shit. Just like you're living in this fucking delusional world that is definitely detrimental, I believe. And I think reality is beautiful. Reality is beautiful. Inquiry is beautiful. Learning about things, teaching kids what they need to learn and let them think for themselves, you know what I mean? There's some things you could teach a kid, you know what I mean, that they need to learn, of course, in life to get them going, but then let them think for themselves. Something like when you live in a devout fundamentalist family, you suspend that. You can't think for your fucking self. You're just done. I'm like, it's just done, and that affects you in real life. It affects you in the workplace. It affects you with, reason, logic. It's amazing that these people claim that there's so many suspensions in the natural order when it comes to miracles that it's just so sad. I'm like, not one has ever been proven. There's no suspension of the natural order. We've never seen it, and these people claim it.
Yeah, and that's the, I guess, the hallmark of religion, because what else besides religion can convince you that just doubting something is like a horrible thing? Like, I've been told that so many times. Like, even if you just doubt that, you're sinning. Correct. You're doubting God, you're sinning. Yeah, and in that, you're taking a chance and dying and going to hell.
Oh yeah, never question.
Just to doubt something.
And to do that to children is what's the most fucked up, because they know no better, and they look up to the parents as idols. They're their heroes. They're whatever their parents say, whatever the authority and figures in their life say is what is right. So that's what's so detrimental about it. I mean, if you want to find religion when you're older, I think that's okay to a point. I think it's better to think logically and think rationally instead of trying to rely on
it's more of a choice when you're older.
Yeah, it's a choice when you're older. When you're young, that's what I have a real bad problem with, is because most of it is you can't get around all the bad and the negative in it with all the positive, because there's still that punishment aspect. God is going to punish you somehow for doing something. So this was why you need him, and this is why you need to have him in your life, and then blah 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 blah. There's always going to be that punishment aspect, and I think that's abuse.
It's that whole Ray Comfort, like, have you ever told a lie? Have you ever stolen anything? Like, you're going to find a reason why you should burn in hell forever, and you need this religion that we're selling you.
There's always going to be that hole that God needs to fill.
Yeah, and one of the worst memories of my childhood I can remember is the fear of going to hell. A really bad fear of going to hell and being tortured forever, and that's one of the reasons I really, really am against it.
Yeah.
No, exactly. And what happens is my viewpoint is this, short and sweet. Doubt is there. It's just so evil. Doubt. It's like doubt is their worst enemy. They can't doubt anything in their fucking Bible, man, their religion. They just can't do it. And it's pretty sad that people think that way, because I think the world's beautiful. I think reality is beautiful. I think inquiry is beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Doubt is beautiful. Doubt is a good thing.
Doubt is a good thing, correct. Absolutely. 100% right. But they see it as
actually, you know what?
Here we go, TJ.
I'm not so sure about that.
You doubt me, TJ?
You doubt what he said?
that was the point of the joke. I wasn't so sure that doubting is a good thing.
Way to go, Drew. Way to fuck it up.